You've heard it a million times, right? Study smart, not hard. But what does that actually look like? Well, today we're going to break it down into 3 simple scientific methods that can seriously change the game for you. Does this feel familiar? You spend hours chained to your desk, you chug coffee, you tell your friends you can't hang out, and when you get your results back, they just don't match the effort. It's frustrating, but trust me, you're not alone. And there's a really good reason this keeps happening. To really get what's going on, let's look at the story of a student from Egypt named Faris. Now, Faris was super motivated to improve his grades. He thought he had the perfect strategy, but he was about to make a classic mistake that so many of us make. Okay, so check this out, because this is a real head-scratcher. In his first semester, Faris gets a 60%. Not bad, but he knows he can do better. So for the second semester, he goes all in, studying 6 hours straight every single night. And the result? His score actually drops to 50%. How is that even possible? More effort literally led to worse results. Let's figure out what went wrong. So the first piece of this puzzle is all about understanding how our brains are wired to focus. Faris's plan seemed totally logical, but what he didn't realize is that he was basically fighting a battle against his own biology. I mean, on the surface, this looks like pure dedication, right? 6 solid hours of studying. But in reality, this strategy was pretty much doomed from the very beginning. And here's why. It turns out our brains have something like a built-in focus timer. And a ton of research shows that after about 30 minutes of really intense focus on one thing, our ability to concentrate just falls off a cliff.
You know the feeling, right? You're reading a dense chapter, and all of a sudden you're thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner or replaying a conversation from yesterday. That's not you being lazy. That's literally your brain signaling that it needs a quick reset. Faris was just pushing past that signal for hours.
So here's the solution, and it is beautifully simple. Instead of a 6-hour marathon, you treat it like a series of sprints. You go all out with intense focus for 30 minutes. Then, and this is the important part, you take a real 5-minute break. Get up, walk around, do anything but study. Then you come back and your focus is totally refreshed. All right, so fixing Faris's focus is step 1. But that's only half the battle. Because what's the point of being super focused if all that information just evaporates from your brain a few days later? That brings us to our second method, how to build a powerful memory. It's kind of a scary question for anyone who's ever studied for an exam, isn't it? You put in all this work to understand a topic and then, poof, it's gone right when you need it most. Right after you finish a study session, you feel like a genius. Your recall is perfect, 100%. You've got every detail, every formula, every date down cold.
But then, get this. If you don't look at that material again in less than a week, you're probably going to remember only about 20% of it. That means a whopping 80% of your hard work just vanished into thin air. This isn't just a feeling, it's a scientific principle called the forgetting curve. A scientist named Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered it. It basically shows that we forget things incredibly fast at first, and then the rate of forgetting slows down. The trick is to stop that initial nosedive. And this is how you stop it. The technique is called spaced repetition. Instead of cramming, you do quick reviews at specific intervals. Take a quick look after 1 day, then again after 3 days, and again after 6 days. Each time you do this, you're telling your brain, hey, this stuff is important, keep it. It's how you move information from your flimsy, short-term memory into your long-term memory vault. Now, you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. Reviewing everything 3 times? Who has time for that? And that is a totally fair point. Which brings us to our third and final method, how to make those reviews so fast and efficient they barely take up any time at all. Yeah, this is the reality check. If reviewing means rereading entire chapters, you'd never get anything done. The secret isn't to restudy, it's to review smart. And to do that, you have to know what's actually worth reviewing in the first place. This physics example makes it so clear. On one side, you have the long, complicated explanation of how a law was derived. That's the concept. Your goal is to understand that once. But on the other side, you have the final, clean formula. That's the information. That's the thing you actually need to memorize and use. Let's try another one from biology. The detailed, multi-page explanation of how a disease works in the body, that's the concept. You read it to get the big picture. But the list of key symptoms, that's the critical information you need to lock into your memory for your spaced repetition reviews.
So here's the golden rule. As you study, your job is to be a detective, hunting for that core information. The final formulas, the key definitions, the list of symptoms. That's what you write down for review. You understand the big concept once, but you review the key information on that schedule we talked about. Okay, let's put it all together now. We saw how Ferris's incredible effort was actually working against him, but now we've got the 3 tools he needed to fix everything.
So this is your blueprint. It's this simple. 1. For focus, work in 30-minute sprints with 5-minute breaks. 2. For memory, use spaced repetition, quick reviews after 1, 3, and 6 days. And 3. For efficiency, separate the concepts you just need to understand from the information you need to memorize. Just imagine if Ferris had used these 3 simple techniques. His 6 hours of study wouldn't have been this long, draining marathon. Every single minute would have been productive. Every important fact would have stuck. And all that amazing effort would have finally paid off with the success he was working so hard for.
So now the last question is all about you. You've seen the blueprint, you get the science behind it. Which one of these game-changing techniques are you going to start using first? Because just picking one is enough to start making the shift from just working hard to finally studying smart.